Good morning, YouTube. I hope you all are doing well. As you can see, it's the morning and I'm struggling, but gotta get to work because today we gotta take care of the garden. So what I'm gonna do here is struggle to get up off the floor, and I'm gonna talk to you guys for a little bit about my rooftop garden that I've been cultivating for the last about year or so. So come on, Elise, let's get up. It's time to go. Time to go, girl. I would say that gardening in Japan is just as common as it is anywhere else. I know a lot of people have this idea of, like apartments and tower mansions that are very like minimalistic with like no flowers or anything. But if you walk down any kind of residential area, even in a city as dense as Osaka, you'll see a lot of houses that have trees and shrubbery, lined up in front of them. And even though there's no soil, there's like the ground itself isn't made of soil, it's usually cemented over. People will still fill the area around their house with plants to give it that sort of natural vibe, and I think that's really nice because when you do live in a big city, just seeing concrete all the time can drive you a little crazy, and it's always nice to be able to just see little bits of nature all throughout your neighborhood. So that being said, it's pretty easy to find gardening supplies in Japan. A lot of my supplies that you see here in this video, I actually got from DAISO. So that means I got it from the dollar store, the Japanese dollar store. I basically just spent $1 to buy containers. You can also buy soil. The soil in this video is actually not from DAISO. It's from Amazon actually. But you can buy soil from DAISO. You can also buy seeds. Earlier in the video footage you could see a row of seeds being sold. Those are at DAISO. I've heard some people complain that the seeds that are sold at DAISO are not very good and that they often don't germinate very well, like the flowers don't grow very well, or they're just not very robust. But most of my seeds have come from the dollar store, and I would say that they're doing fine, especially since I'm a beginner. I don't want to spend a lot of money on seeds that I'll end up killing anyway. So it's nice to be able to just get seeds easily from the dollar store, try stuff out, see what techniques that are working and what's not working. So yeah, I definitely recommend checking out the dollar store. I definitely recommend checking out the dollar store if you're into gardening or you want to get into gardening in Japan. That would be a very good place to start. So now that I'm all ready to go, I'm just gonna share a little bit about my garden. And when I say my garden, I mean indoor and outdoor, I guess. Does indoor garden count? I don't know. I guess they're house plants, but all of my plant babies, my whole garden. I'm gonna share what I'm growing, and then I'm gonna share a little bit of information about where you can get plants in Japan and what supplies you need for taking care of your plants, because I learned the hard way that once spring hits in Japan, like, the bugs come out, and they just come out of nowhere. I don't know where some of these bugs. I had a problem with aphids last year, and I have a problem with, I think they're fruit flies, but now I have like the proper sprays and stuff to deal with that. So this year is not so much of a problem, but the year before was terrible. So I'm gonna try to share information so you don't have to go through all the problems that I went through. Okay, so yeah, let's go. First, we have my basil plant that I've had for about 2 years. As you can see, it's growing bizarrely. It's got a lot of empty space, but recently the bottom has like sprouted a lot. So I'm just gonna let that bottom, this is a cutoff that I made that looked like it was dead, but then it just started growing here. Like, I'm not good at this, but I'm trying. And I do eat this basil and it's very delicious. This is a mint plant that I got, I think I got a year ago. I think it was last year. And I've been making cutoffs of it and putting it in the pot. So there's that. This is an oregano plant that I thought was dead. It's called Mexican oregano, but I don't know if that's what it really is. It died when I was in Europe, or I thought it died. And then it started growing these things. So I guess it's not dead. This is the mint plant that is definitely dead. Or maybe dead. I don't know. The root system still seems to be intact, so I'm gonna see if I can make it do something. In this window, we have my rosemary that was doing well, and then it kind of started dying. So I'm gonna see if I can just give it some time and let it come back to life. And I have another basil plant. This basil is different from the other basil. It grows differently. The leaves aren't as big, but I still use it in some of my food. This one was also dying when I came back from Europe, but it's kind of on its way back. This is I think it's lemon verbena plant. So I gotta cut off some of these like dead bits, I guess. But they also have green growing on them, so I don't know what I should cut and what I should keep. I should have, I guess, just cut it all. I should have just cut it all down, but I didn't. So now we just have good stuff growing with the dead stuff. So crap. Back here is a lavender plant that I've had for a few years, and it was doing fine until the Europe trip where it didn't get water for a while. I think it might be dead, but I've given it a little boost juice. So maybe if it comes back, I'll try to get some lavender off it, but I've also just planted some lavender to replace it, sadly. I don't know what this is. This I just got from the plant store. It smelled really good. That's why I picked it up. The little tag says that it is cola plants. It's a cola plant. It smells like cola. Huh. That's not what I thought it smelled like when I got it, but apparently it smells like cola. It looks like it's just a nice, cute indoor plant. I am hoping that the scent will help me when I concentrate, so it's sitting right near my desk. So yeah, that's my houseplants upstairs. The houseplants I have downstairs are not anything really special. They're just kind of regular houseplants. So let's go look at the plants outside, and if I can remember what they're called, I'll tell you. Now we're back outside so I can introduce the plants that I remember. Outside I have a lot of plants to eat. Not a lot. I have a few plants to eat. I'm trying to grow more plants that I can eat, but I don't have a lot of big pots, and I feel like for eating plants you need either the ground or you need really big pots and containers to put them in, which I don't really have, but you know, we'll try. We'll see what happens. Over here we have some unidentified plants. I don't know what that is. I think it's some kind of flower plant that I planted last year actually, and I thought it was dead. And then this year it started sprouting all these green things. so I think it's okay. I think it's gonna live. This one I believe is a tomato plant that I planted maybe a month ago. I think right after I came back from Europe, I planted this. So after it gets a little bit bigger, I think I'm gonna move it to the big pot that I have waiting for it. This is a rosemary that I thought was dead, but then I came back and it had like fresh green things on it. So I'm gonna let this rosemary do its thing. This planter is full of marigolds, and I think they should be coming up soon. There's a weed in here. Ew, go away, weed. Oh my God. The other marigolds should come up though. I don't remember what this is. It might have been a spinach, but it's growing. These I think are broccoli that I'm going to move into a different container soonish. This is my hydrangea that I bought last year, I think, and I thought it was not liking life, but I cut everything back during the winter and all this green stuff came back, so I'm so excited to have it alive and here with me. This one I think is another plant that I grew from seeds. I think it's going to be a flower that will bloom sometime in the summer, maybe in the fall, I'm not sure, but I don't know what it is. I have lots of packages though, so when these things sprout their flowers, I can check and see what is what. This is a fern that I got from the store last year, and it had these big, beautiful green leaves, and they all died and fell off, and then I was so worried that it was dead. But it's not. It grew all this stuff up here, it's growing all this stuff here, it's growing stuff on the bottom. Like, it's love and life, so I'm happy. This is just a regular ivy plant that has, I don't know if I should take these red bits out. If anybody knows, you can tell me, because I have no idea. This is a hawthorn bush that I got off of Rakuten. It's burning alive, but it said it should be good in this climate. It said it should do well in most climates, but I think it just needs maybe a lot of water, it looks like. But this didn't have leaves for like ever. I had this for at least a year and it had nothing, so I thought it was dead. And then all of a sudden this spring, all these leaves popped up. So I'm very pleasantly surprised about the development of this plant. This one also I thought was dead. This is a grape plant that I got when we went to Wakayama, and it had it actually had a few leaves last year. And then all the leaves fell off in the winter and I was like, oh crap, it's gone. And then spring came and all the leaves popped back. So I'm so excited for that. This one says it's a kind of lime tree. I got this from the Don Quixote, so it's like really cheap. And I don't know what it's supposed to do. I might have to change the pot, give it a bit more space, and maybe it'll do more things. But the leaves are still there, so it's alive. I don't know what this is, but it's pretty, and the flowers stay in bloom kind of all year actually. So that's why I like having it here. It gives color to the space. This one I believe is a blueberry plant. And during spring it had all these beautiful pink flowers. And so the pink flowers are mostly gone, but hopefully I'll have fruit, but I don't know when the fruit's supposed to show up. I should check the little card. I left the card in the container so I can check later, but yep, that's blueberry. This one was a spring flower that I bought recently. As you can see, the flowers are basically gone. It looked like this, but I'll put a picture of what that looked like when the flowers started blooming. Now it's just got these nice green leaves, and it makes you feel like you got some cool shade up here in the hot summer. Next we have my strawberry plant that I've been eating off of. So it does have actual strawberries, but it was in such a small container, I think it was suffocating. So I just put it in this big container. Hopefully that'll give it a bit more space to grow, and maybe I can get some better strawberries off of it. But the ones I ate so far were really good. Kudos to this guy. This is Shota's leek collection. He loves eating leek, so I told him he should try growing some, so then he can eat it whenever he wants to. So that's what he's been doing for like the past 6 months, I think he's had this. And it just keeps growing. I don't really understand how it works, but he just cuts off the top
and then it just keeps growing and you just keep eating from it. So that's really cool. This, I think, is some lettuce that we're growing. I think it's lettuce. It might be spinach or something. Man, I just be planting stuff. And then when it looks like it's ready, I know it's edible for sure, but I just don't remember what it is. This one, I believe, is a turnip, 2 turnips. But the container is kind of small. Every time we plant turnips, they end up kind of small. But, I mean, they're edible, so we still eat them. And then in here is some carrots. But yeah, these are Shota's carrots. They're not doing so hot this time. We got a bunch of carrots, a bunch of like baby carrots last time. But we use the same soil, and I don't think we should have done that. So now we only have 2 carrots growing really at this time. So, oh well, lesson learned. We used to have an eggplant, but the eggplant is dead. And we have an aloe vera. I think I picked up at a plant store last year, and it had these great big 3 stalks that were going up. But then those stalks kind of went red, so I decided to cut 2 of them back and just let the 1 stalk stay, and hopefully the stuff at the bottom will start growing up instead of whatever it's doing now. I'm not really sure. That's my little rooftop garden, guys.